Hey everyone, welcome back to the I Should Totally Be Dead Right Now podcast, where we tell true stories of survivors of true crime, natural disasters, and everything else between. How's it going, Michelle?
It's going good. It's going good.
Awesome.
I got this cocktail in my hand. It's sunny outside. I'm ready to
Well,
rock
for
and roll.
you,
I know it's all rainy where you are.
yeah, stormy, love it. Wet.
I know I'm a little
Beautiful.
jealous, I will admit. We've
I'm
had
so
no
glad.
rain, hardly.
Boo. But I'm so glad you said yes to this because it was trying to we could do this drink, ... or this drink. And you're like, well, let me look up some recipes. I'm like, or we could do the same drink I just said. And you're like, all right, okay.
Well, good call, Caitlin. Well
Thank
done on
you.
pushing it through because it's
Thank you.
delicious. I feel like I'm going to have a couple more even after this podcast is done being recorded.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with it, honestly.
It is. I could see it being a perfect Thanksgiving punch. If you made it big. So
big one.
I'll let you tell us what's in it.
Well, my friends, this is a Cranberry Moscow Mule. So what's in it? It's 4 ounces of ginger beer, 4 ounces of cranberry juice, 2 ounces of vodka or rum. We went with vodka, of course.
Obviously.
1 juice of a lime, and then pour it over ice, and you're good to go.
We decided also it would be good with some mint mashed into it, I think. Or a big sprig of mint right on top. That would be good also.
Absolutely. But Moscow Mules are my favorite go-to drink. And plus you get a cute little copper cup. Adorable.
That's true. I don't have any copper cups here.
Oh my God.
The copper cups are in storage. Thanks, Caitlin. She's like, I don't know how to respond to that. Oh, I'm gonna drink it right in your face.
Yep. So yeah, please enjoy that. Like she said, you could do it in a big punch. Yeah, I bet that would be delicious.
And super pretty. I put lime slices all on top and
some cranberries in it. They didn't have cranberries at the store where I went, so I'm like, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, give it another week and you'll be bombarded.
Everywhere. Absolutely. Well, all right. Well, should we jump into it then?
Hell yeah.
All right. So this story is about Lyle Odelien.
All right,
Lyle. So Lyle lives in Fox Chapel, Pennsylvania, and he is, oh no, I can't read my own handwriting. He's either 50 or 58. I connected it and it looks like, I think 50. Okay. He's 50 years old and he's actually retired from the NHL, which is the National Hockey League.
Oh, so he's like an ex-hockey player?
Yep.
He was Lyle. Okay.
He was a defenseman and won the Stanley Cup with Montreal. He was on that team in 1993. He played with several different teams, including the Pittsburgh Penguins, for his final season from 2005 to 2006. This man has a high pain tolerance. You know, hockey is very physical. So I
remember, if you don't mind me jumping in here real quick, because obviously it's going to happen. Sorry. My dad actually played minor league hockey for quite a bit of his late teens into his 20s. And he said that he got hit in the face with a hockey puck, but everything was numb because he was so frozen. And then he went to the hospital and he said that was the worst pain of his life, his nose coming back to life, I guess, from being so cold and then it being broken, that he quit after that.
Really?
He was done because it hurt so bad.
Dang. So, well, Lyle, he's had a busted knee, a broken nose, a broken jaw throughout his whole career. So he's been banged up, but he still kept coming back. But he's now retired. So in 2018, in March, Lyle went on a golfing trip with his friends in Arizona. So he's living the life. He's a golfer, you know?
Yeah, living that retired life.
So they're enjoying the day, and Lyle went into the rough to retrieve a ball, and he wanted to make sure that it wasn't his ball. He was retrieving it for someone else.
Yeah, right, Lyle.
He stays on the green, you know?
Indeed. I was helping a friend.
And as he was getting the ball, he feels some pain on his leg. He looks down and he sees that he was attacked by a jumping cactus.
What?
Yeah. So it is a spiky ball that detaches from the stalk at any slight touch or movement. It like jumps at whatever made that movement.
Pass. These are in Arizona? Yeah,
Yeah.
Arizona is banned for me forever.
Yeah, it's so weird. They jump. They really do.
Okay, so not only is there skinwalkers in Arizona, is what you're telling me, but there's
That's
also now
true.
jumping cactuses. Forget it.
Yeah.
Or cacti.
Yep.
I don't even know. I don't
Cacti.
care. I'm done with them. Arizona, you're out.
So this cactus was embedded into his leg, which he could not get out with his hands because it's all spiky all around.
Oh, God.
So they had to use a golf club to get it off of him, and they continued on playing. It's a week later now, and Lyle is now home, but now complaining of leg pain and flu-like symptoms. He decided to stay home instead of going to another golfing trip in California this time.
Where there are not jumping cactuses.
Yeah, I mean, it's also California, so who knows?
Yeah.
But so he talked to his wife, who was already in California because she had her own business trip to do. I guess she's still working. Dang, right?
Yeah.
So she
Way to go,
asked
Lyle's wife.
she asked one of their close friends to check in on him, and the friend goes, and they were shocked to see what kind of shape he was in.
Oh no.
Seeing how bad of shape he was, they took him to the hospital. He has a high pain tolerance, which did not help him because he sat at home for too long without treatment.
Oh, that is like my worst fear about any ailment that I have because I hate going to the doctor. And so I just like push through.
Yeah.
And
sometimes you cannot.
Sometimes you cannot. Absolutely should not.
So they got him checked in, and what they found out was he has a blood infection.
That's not good at all.
No. Now, I want to say that jumping cactus are not poisonous. The barbs are not poisonous. It could have had some bacteria on it that once it embedded into his skin, it could have came off then. Or since it was an open wound, other bacteria could have got in.
It got exposed to something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they're not poisonous, people, just to make sure. I was
no
looking
one's
at
buying
that.
What you're selling, Caitlin.
So just stay away from cactus anyways, though. So
that seems like sound advice.
Thank you. They take him to the surgical intensive care unit and give him antibiotics. They keep him to monitor him and thought that he could go home within a few days.
So they weren't freaking out at this point. They were like, we got to take your leg, you're fucked forever kind of situation.
No, it was just he had infection in his blood, which is scary, but antibiotics should take care of it.
Okay.
So it's been a few days, and all of a sudden, Lyle crashes, and his body completely shuts down.
Oh.
He is incubated and placed in a medically induced coma. The infection damaged his aortic valve, which controls the blood pumping from the heart to the rest of the body. The infection damaged his valve so badly that half of the blood pumped out was actually coming back into the heart rather than into his body.
Oh no.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that valve is not working correctly at all.
So Lyle actually already had some mild underlying liver and kidney conditions, and with a decreased blood flow, it stressed these organs, causing them to fail.
Oh my God, they probably got pummeled playing hockey and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely.
Oh my God, I've been to a few hockey games, and it's like I don't like to admit this, but man, when those fight breaks out, it's like the best part of the whole damn thing. And you're like,
that's what I hear though. I haven't been to a hockey game before, but they sound fun.
They are fun. They have the Winterhawks up in Portland, and it's a minor league, so they're all young. They're like 17 and 18 and stuff. Okay. But they play really well, and it's fun to watch.
Cool. I actually might go to one this month. I don't know.
Do it. It's totally fun. We had season tickets for a while, and it was a good time.
Cool. All right, sorry. I lost my place. Okay, so this makes repairing the damaged aortic valve very complicated. So they had two choices. They either do nothing and he dies, or they have to do a triple transplant of the aortic valve, kidney, and liver.
Oh, are you serious?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
that feels like almost impossible.
This is an extremely rare transplant that has been performed only a handful of times and never at this hospital.
Oh my gosh. Well, and how do you even get the organs? Like
Yeah,
you
we'll
have to
get to
have a
that too.
liver, kidney, and everything kind of come together. Oh my gosh. Okay. Keep going.
The other thing was, though, if they went forward with the operation, what are the chances that he would survive? I mean, he's older. I mean, 50 is not old, but older. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Thanks, Caitlin. That felt
Sorry.
very candid.
I'm just saying. Oh my goodness.
You just turned 45. Do you know that you're almost 50? Were you aware of that? Yes.
But you're not. So let's just say he's 58. Maybe that's what I wrote. He could be 58.
All right.
Actually, it could be. Fuck it, guys. I'm so sorry. He's 50 or 58. He's in his 50s, okay? My God.
There we go. Well put.
I wrote it too fast. Okay. So the aortic valve would come from a cow, actually.
Oh,
But
I
the
know they
liver.
do a lot of stuff with pigs, like pig valves and stuff. I know they can replace a lot of parts of your heart with that.
Well, there we go.
So.
But this was a cow. So
Okay.
maybe it's more bougie. I don't know. But the liver and the kidney would have to come from someone. So with 100% chance of death without the surgery, or a 90% chance with the surgery. So they decided,
let's just go for it.
Yep, they knew Lyle was a fighter, so let's go for it. So he was placed at the top of the transplant list, not because of his status or, his history.
Yeah, right.
But it was based on the MELD score, which is model for end-stage liver disease. So the sucky thing is just a waiting game now. And Lyle is still in a coma. I mean, they put him under for a coma. So all this is happening while he is in a coma. So a week goes
poor
by.
Wife.
Oh, absolutely right. A week goes by and the doctors think he only has about 24 hours to 48 hours left if they can't find.
Oh my God.
You know, right? But they actually received news that a 49-year-old organ donor passed away with a healthy liver and kidney.
Oh, very wow. Lucky. Yeah, I guess you could get it from the same body. I was thinking 2 people had
one
to go.
And done.
Oh, gosh.
That's so funny.
Pull yourself together, Michelle. Do math. Come on.
Are you an organ donor, Michelle?
Yes, I am an organ donor.
I am as well.
They actually told me, because I apologize again, but
no, go ahead.
When my dad passed, I guess they used his eyeballs.
Really?
Yeah, and maybe some of his skin or something like that. He was an organ donor, but all of his organs had shut down when he passed, and so it was. I was like, "What the hell would they even use?" And they were like, "Well, probably his eyeballs and probably part of his skin."
Yeah, something about the eyes, I don't know. Well, I mean, no one wants my eyes, I can't see. No one wants my kidneys because they have stones in them. No one wants my lungs because I have asthma. So
poor Caitlin. Sorry.
I can't give anyone anything.
We're gonna pass on that.
Oh my gosh. All right, we'll move on. So okay. So they found a donor, and it's now been a month since Lyle has been in a coma. So he was taken. Time. It is a long time. So he was taken into surgery, and the plan was to first replace the valve with one team of doctors, and then a second team of doctors would step in for the liver transplant. And then with Lyle's chest left open, he would rest overnight to allow the liver to resuscitate. Then in the morning, they would transplant the kidney.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That is complex.
It is. Yeah. So Lyle's wife and family waited for hours. So the valve surgery took 5 hours. The liver took 6 hours. And the next day, the kidney took 8 hours.
Oh my gosh.
But it was a success. So there we go. 2 weeks after the operation, Lyle comes out of the coma. He couldn't talk yet, but he was winking at nurses and showing signs of awareness.
Lyle, you old dog.
Lyle was suffering from post-surgical complication called critical illness polyneuropathy.
Oh.
Right? Which is which means the body becomes paralyzed following trauma or infection.
Oh, I've never even heard of such a thing.
Well, I said it right, Michelle. So
I know, nailed it. I wouldn't know anyway.
So he could move his shoulders and his head, but anything below that was completely paralyzed.
Wow.
So as he was coming out of this delirium and more conscious, being paralyzed, it was the hardest thing for him knowing that he cannot move. But one day, Lyle felt a tingle in his finger, so he threw himself into rehab, which was more painful anything else than all the hits he took in the NHL. It works.
I don't know why NHL is so weird to say for me.
I think because I'm just used to saying NFL.
Yeah, probably.
So NHL it's I don't know, it doesn't flow.
Well, there's just not a lot of hockey in Oregon.
No, there's not.
Like, it's not a big sport there like it is in the East Coast and up in Canada and things.
Right. Well, he states every day got a little bit better. The hardest thing was probably trying to stand up to take that first step. He had a lot of support from family and friends from the hockey world as well. Early June, he was discharged from the hospital to a rehab unit. So, what was it? March that he.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you how long it's been now.
Yep. So he went golfing in March.
Almost 3 months.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Dang.
At that point, you probably know the hospital staff so well.
Oh,
well, no,
right.
He was in a coma. Never mind. That's true.
Yeah. Most of the time he was in a coma, yeah.
Until he woke up and to wink at the nurses.
Yeah. But he began to build strength and slowly gaining back some of the 70 pounds he's lost.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a lot. And now July, he finally gets to go home. He's still unable to walk by himself, but he can go home.
Oh, my goodness.
He continued to improve, and by October, he flew to Montreal to attend the 25th anniversary celebration for the 1993 Stanley Cup that he won.
Okay. I bet that was fun.
Yeah. Now, only using a cane, he decided that he would not use it during the trip. He states, "I'm not using a cane to walk in front of 20,000 people. When you have to do something, your brain will overcome."
Oh, shoot.
So with Jefferson's Starship, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now blaring over the,
the
speakers.
Yes.
Lyle did stand and wave unassisted.
Woo! Good job, Lyle. Now I want to
love that song.
Check it out.
You don't that song?
No, I mean him at the. They probably filmed that whole thing.
Oh, I'm sure. Imagine. All right. So now December of 2019. So this happened in 2018. So it's been a year. So December 2019, Lyle went in for a checkup, and all his numbers are perfect. He was told that he didn't have to come back for 6 months, but he still goes once a month just to make sure that he's on the right path.
Nice.
He's excited to get back to the golf course and continue on with his retired
Just not
life.
In Arizona ever again.
Not in Arizona. Yeah, let's leave that behind.
If we're ever playing golf in Arizona, Caitlin, I'm going to make you go get my ball in the rough because you know it's going to be there.
Just all the jumped in cacti. Yeah. You should look up a video of it. It's quite interesting. But
yeah, of the jumping.
Yeah, just barely a little, like someone put a t-shirt like just next to it and it just jumped right onto it.
Oh, wow.
They don't fuck around. They don't want you around.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they hook tenaciously into people who get too close.
Mm-hmm. You don't even have to touch them. You just have to get close. Like, terrible.
Yeah, and boom. It's right there. Stuck in you. Hard pass.
Hard pass indeed.
Well, I feel like this is maybe a little bit, not really related, but I don't know, some bizarre thing that happens to you out in nature.
Okay.
What my story is about. So this story is about Ryan Osmond.
Okay.
And we're going back to February of 2019.
Okay.
So it's early in the morning. Well, 8 a.m. For me, that's fairly early.
Yeah.
Ryan and his girlfriend, Jessica, had just arrived at Utah's Zion National Park. I feel like we've probably told stories about there before. I think it's maybe not, but all kinds of people survive there all the time. And they had actually recently traveled from their home in Mesa, Arizona. So, they're on the wrong track already. The plan was to hike this 14-kilometer long subway trail is what it's called.
What's that? Kilometers? I don't know. I'm American.
Good question. Usually I get it all worked out before I even tell the story. So hold on. Kilometers 2 miles. I think it's probably maybe like 7 miles. That's my guess.
That's a long hike.
Oh, I was wrong. 8.7 miles is
That's
how
even
long.
longer hike.
Yeah. Yes. It's a decent hike, but I guess it has this stunning tunnel-shaped canyon that they were very excited about.
That sounds pretty.
Yeah, apparently it's an amazing hike and it's very well known and a lot of people love it. Halfway through their hike, which their hike included going over boulders and kind of going over streams and things, the sunshine gave way to snow. So it started snowing on them. Soon after, they reached the subway, the rust color walls of the subway trail. I think this is a very famous trail that you probably have seen pictures of, where you see all the really cool rock formations and such. Here, I don't know if you can see that.
Oh wow, yeah, it's beautiful.
But it's very iconic and very Utah-y. So they reached the really cool part of the subway trail, and there was a small pond that was in their way that kind of didn't allow them from continuing on the trail. But the pond looked shallow, so they sort of began to go through it.
Okay.
So, and Jessica was leading the way in going through this shallow pond. And so about 5 feet from the edge of the pond, her foot sank into a sandy bottom.
Oh.
And then she sort of fell forwards, and then both legs started to sink. And so Ryan lunged at her and was able to grab her under her shoulders and pull her out of the muck. And she was able to get back to shore. But now Ryan is sinking, and he is sinking in quicksand.
Oh my gosh.
So it's so funny. Like, I guess quicksand is pretty prevalent. Like, you can find it all over the world.
Oh yeah.
And it's pretty easy to mistake it for standing water and other, or
it's no joke.
No, it is no joke, as it turns out. I did a lot of research on quicksand after. A lot, maybe a little bit of an exaggeration. But we'll kind of get back into more about quicksand once we're done with Ryan and Jessica. So Ryan is now sinking into quicksand, and the muck came all the way up to his right thigh and up to his left calf. So he's sort of going deeper on one side. And so he was able to get his left leg out that wasn't fully as submerged. Okay. But his right leg would not budge. So Jessica handed him a long stick that they had picked up as a walking stick earlier on their trail. And so he sort of jammed it down the side of his leg and started to wiggle it so he could hopefully pull his leg out, kind of create a little more space around his leg, but nothing would work. He was completely mired in the quicksand. So Jessica started now trying to scoop the sand out and try to unbury him. It ended up just refilling faster than she could even pull it out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He's like, no, you better stop, because you're just going to make yourself exhausted. And it's not helping anyway. So at this point, he's got his one leg out, his right leg submerged completely to his thigh, and Jessica is there, really unable to help him.
Wow.
And he's not sinking anymore, but he certainly can't get out. He's completely stuck. I think there's almost like a suction that happens. Have you ever gotten stuck in mud yourself and then end up walking out and losing your shoe or something?
Yeah, it's true.
And it's just it just suctions right onto you. So they were not able to call for help because there was 0 cell reception. So the only cell reception was 5 hours back on the trail at the beginning of the trail. So they had been hiking for 5 hours by the time he got stuck in the quicksand.
Oh my gosh.
So in order to get help, he was like, Jessica, you got to hike back.
Oh my gosh.
Like, hell no, I am a fairly novice hiker. I don't hike by myself. That's very scary. I don't know what to do. Even though she was very scared and she had never hiked alone, as I said, he convinced her to go out. and go back on the trail and go to the beginning so she could try to call for help.
So as long as he's not moving, he's not sinking anymore.
That's right. And as it turns out, once you hit waist deep, most likely you're not going to sink anymore.
Oh, really?
Like that is one thing I learned about quicksand is you're not going to die from drowning. You're probably going to die from exposure to the elements because you're stuck, or hypothermia or heat exhaustion or whatever it is around you.
Okay.
You're not going to just keep on sinking.
That's a little comforting, honestly.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. So Jessica has headed out back to the trailhead on a trail that's been called very strenuous by the National Park Service.
Oh, so no.
It's not an easy trail, I guess is kind of the point. So 30 minutes after she leaves, it starts to snow heavily.
Oh my gosh.
It starts to really come down. So Ryan zipped up his jacket and put his head inside. And at some point, he was actually able to go to sleep for a little while. So that's nice.
That is nice.
He did not know how long he was out, but he woke up with his upper body sort of slipping backwards into the quicksand. So he was able to sort of plant his stick, that walking stick, into dry ground and kind of push himself back up.
Oh, okay.
So he's sort of back upright. He was completely exhausted. He knew that if his entire body fell in, like if he did fall backwards, there was no way he'd ever be able to get out because he's just so tired at this point.
Aww.
And his leg is at a very weird angle, and it's just his whole situation is just very funky and not fun. It's been like 5 hours since Jessica has left, and now it's starting to get dark.
Oh my goodness.
So it's snowing, it's getting dark. He's stuck with one leg in the quicksand.
And it's cold, and I'm sure the mud's really cold too.
Oh, it's got to be. Yeah. Like everything has to be freezing. I just assumed like when you're out hiking, it's got to be a warm day. It's like 90 degrees out or something. Not the case. I guess it's February. So whatever. Whatever, Ryan. I get it. So a few hours later, he saw a light through his jacket. And he was like, is it a helicopter? Am I being rescued? But then he realized it was the moonlight sort of shining into this canyon. And he's completely soaking wet because of the snow and the quicksand. And at this point, he's pretty clear he's not going to make it.
Oh my gosh.
There's no way he's going to be able to wait until Jessica comes back from help.
No.
He is quickly losing hope.
Aww.
So now he's like sort of strategizing on how he can die faster, like to put himself out of misery.
I guess.
But he knew that he didn't want to drown. So he pretty much was like, I'm not going to fall backwards to drown myself because that has got to be one of the worst ways to go.
Yeah.
And Ryan and I would agree. Like, well said.
Drowning in mud type?
Yeah. No. Like drowning is bad enough, but drowning in effing mud, forget it. So he's just, now it's a waiting game as he's strategizing on how to die quicker. So an hour later, another light shines and it kind of shines across his eyes and he realizes that it's a flashlight. And so he starts yelling for help. He's like, oh, help, I'm here. And there was a man that hollered back to him. And he's just like, I'm here. And the man is kind of yelling that he's coming to get him. And he said his name is Tim and that Jessica had gotten through to rescuers and that Tim had hiked up and the rest of his crew was about an hour behind him. And so I'm sure Ryan is like, oh, are you kidding me?
Seriously?
This is great. So when the 3 other men arrived, they set up a pulley system to get him out of the quicksand. So they tied an anchor strap around a boulder and 2 of the rescuers held him under each of his shoulders. So I guess one each had an arm. And then Tim wrapped a strap around his kneecap. And I think this is the kneecap that's out.
Okay.
So it's his right kneecap. And then there was the fourth rescuer that sort of worked the pulleys as they're trying to kind of get him out. They're pulling him up. They got his knee, his shoulders, all kinds of things. And so they're starting to sort of ratchet him up, I guess, for better, I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but here we are. And he said that his leg that was stuck in the quicksand, it felt like it was getting ripped off. So Tim sort of dug in the sand and tried to sort of make room for his leg coming up. So they were digging out around the leg.
Okay.
As they're ratcheting him up.
Jeez.
And he actually was able to reach down and get a hand around his ankle.
Oh, okay.
And he started pulling up, and Ryan said it was completely agonizing, but he could feel his leg moving. And so he's like, keep going, like you're getting there. So he was in total pain, but also being rescued. So he was okay with it.
That's some really thick mud then.
Yeah, no, I guess it gets very, I don't even know. It's like liquid sand kind of, and then it just
suction.
Every time you move, it just moves right back into the spot where you were. And so and then it suctions kind of onto you.
Right.
So they kept
Is it actually
ratcheting.
sand? Sorry. Is it actually sand?
Well, it sounds like this is more muck. Like sediment because as it turns out, quicksand can either be sand and water, dirt and water, sediment and water, or even two different kinds of sand. Like you can get quicksand that has no water in it, that's completely dry. It's just smaller particles of sand versus bigger particles of sand, and you can just like fall right into it.
Freaking science, dude.
I know. It's like, whatever. I guess it's very similar to, I don't know if you've ever seen it when they put like cornstarch and water on a speaker. The vibration of the speaker makes the cornstarch almost solid. I don't know. It's very oozy. And then with the vibration, it becomes more solid. And that's actually very similar to how quicksand works.
Interesting.
So, I don't know. Anyway, I probably did not explain that well at all, but here we go.
No, that makes sense. No, that made me, because I've seen there's like this giant, not pool, but it was this giant thing of sand. And when they had some vibrations going in it, it was liquidy. So they could swim in it. But once the vibrations stopped, it was a solid, like you cannot jump in it. It was very solid.
Yeah, well, your movement actually makes it more liquidy.
Right.
Because of the vibrations. In my brief Google search, what I vaguely discovered. Some scientist out there is like, oh my God, these bitches. Okay. So back to Ryan.
Yeah.
So 3 more ratchets and he was free. So they were able to actually get him up and out. And the rescuers dragged him kind of up the side of the canyon because he couldn't walk. He couldn't even feel his leg at that point.
I'm sure. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And it was too dark and snowy for a helicopter. So they actually just gave him a sleeping bag and a pain medication, and they all settled in for the night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we got to sleep here. Sorry, we can't help you further. So they woke up the next morning at 6 a.m. and there was snow like all over their sleeping bag, and there's big flakes still coming down. And so around noon, the weather kind of got better and they were able to call for a helicopter. Because I'm sure at this point, Ryan cannot walk.
No, I'm surprised like he didn't have hypothermia.
Yeah. No, well, it's probably a nice sleeping bag, perhaps. So his entire leg had swollen to the size of his thigh. So it was just like one big trunk.
Wow.
But when he got to the hospital, they did all these x-rays and he didn't have a single break or a single fracture.
Wow. Okay.
His leg was actually totally fine. So he had sat in the quicksand for 12 hours and was sure he would die, but in fact, he did not.
Good.
So he recovered fully and his leg was fine and he's probably out hiking as we speak.
My goodness. That's crazy.
I do have a little bit of information. Let me kind of
Please
Let me
do.
find it real quick. Of how to survive quicksand.
Yes, please let us all know.
So I did a whole like, what is quicksand? And as we talked about, it's like something solid is made liquid by the vibration.
Right.
And
Okay. So you
so,
said.
which allows you to sink, and then of course it makes it hard for you to escape. Let me pull up my how to get out of quicksand. One thing they say is to immediately, if you have anything on you,
Uh-huh.
like a backpack or you're holding anything, your shoes, your jacket, whatever, try to get rid of them because you want to try to make yourself as light as possible
Oh.
and actually try to take a few steps backwards, like sort of retrace your steps, and you might be able to sort of work your way out. And then keep your arms up and out of the quicksand because you don't want to get your arms stuck in there.
Okay.
And then try to reach for a branch or a person's hand to pull you out and take deep breaths and move slowly and deliberately. But most likely, you're going to need to find help. Like they said, the
Mm.
best way to escape it is to call someone to get help.
Right. Yeah.
So, okay. So again, to escape quicksand, you want to keep your head up. You want to try to backpedal and use your surroundings to help pull yourself out. So if you see a branch or a root or something, you want to try to grab onto that. Let's see. I guess that's like it. Have to do your okay, here's a what not to do.
Okay.
Do not panic that despite what movie scenes say, you're not dense enough to sink all the way under quicksand.
Right. Okay.
So, and keeping your wits about you will help you escape easier, so you're not freaking
Mm.
out. And tempting as it may be, do not ask your hiking buddies to yank you out of your sandy trap. You got to use slow and steady movements that'll end up being more successful than pulling you out
Okay.
because again, there's a big quicksand vacuum. Swing your arms. This is what you don't want to do. You don't want to swing your arms. You want to try to back float your way out. So you want to try to lay on your back and have it sort of use your own buoyancy to slowly pull yourself out. And do not try to float on your stomach because you will end
Oh.
up just getting your head stuck in the quicksand and you'll end up suffocating and dying.
Yeah, that sounds, yeah, your stomach doesn't sound like a good idea. But trying to stay calm being stuck is easier said than done because
Agreed, too.
like, get me out, get me out, get me out. But yeah.
No, no, no. And I'd be flailing all over and I'd be
Yeah,
like, Ryan, like, how do I just kill myself sooner? Because this is the end. Forget it.
that's so sad. Well, 12 hours is a long time. I probably would, yeah.
And poor Jessica, like on
She had
that
a
hike
lot of
herself,
responsibility. Yeah,
like, oh, I couldn't even imagine.
yeah.
I always like that meme that I forget what it's something a lot along the lines like movies made it seem like quicksand would be a bigger problem than it is.
Yeah,
But it turns out it is a problem.
it
So
is. Well, it can be.
indeed.
I have not ran into quicksand in my lifetime, and I hope I never do. But
Well,
thank
I
you,
guess
Michelle.
quicksand can be pretty common on beaches.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, that
like
makes sense.
on low
Sand and
tide.
water.
Yeah, you go out, there can be pockets of quicksand kind of out along the coast.
Oh, that's
So
terrifying.
yeah, be careful of that. All beach trips
Ugh.
are out now. So Arizona and the beach. Sorry.
Pass.
Yeah. And
Pass.
now Utah. You're out.
We'll just have a map of just X's through states that were like, nah, we're
It's-
not
There's
gonna
going to be
visit
this
them.
like small little area in the US that
Yeah,
is my home. I can
it's
say.
just Disneyland.
Yeah, that's perfect. It can't be Disney World because last time I was there was hurricanes. So
Oh, that's right. I
just
remember.
Disneyland. My
Terrifying.
next story is going to be about an earthquake.
Is it?
Disneyland's out.
Oh
No,
yeah, I mean
now it
California.
will be.
Lots of I mean, I think Oregon's perfect. Not like we don't have tornadoes. I mean, we do have, some volcanoes, but the chances of them
Well, and a lot of
erupting.
forest fires, and
Oh, that's
I
true.
think there is earthquakes there. There's a big fault
Oh, we
line.
just had one.
Oh, did you? Did you feel
Yeah.
it?
I didn't, but a lot of people did. It was during the night, so like I didn't feel it, but
Oh,
our neighbor did. And yeah, everyone's like, yeah, I felt it. And I was like, I did not. I slept right through it.
I would have probably slept right through it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Or just assumed that the dogs were like jumping on the bed or something and been like, come on, knock it off.
Yeah, I didn't feel nothing, but yeah, we had one recently, so
Hmm,
sheesh.
that's interesting.
Well, it was a good
Well,
story, Michelle.
they do say a time traveler came back and said that the entire Oregon coast was going to be gone in 50 years.
In 50 years?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
like
okay,
by
well,
2050.
2050. All right, well, that's okay because
Yeah,
I'll
you got
probably
some
be,
time.
yeah.
All right, on that note.
Well, those are really good stories. So, watch out going to nature, guys. Maybe just
Don't
stay
go to
inside.
Arizona, stay away from it.
Yeah. So now you know the dangers of Utah and Arizona. So, well, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you for listening.
Woo-hoo.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.